Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into the world of Azure with the focus of Azure Managed Nginx Ingress Add-On with configuring SSL termination. We are going to talk about how to integrate Azure Key Vault uh, for secure certificate management and how we can integrate Azure DNS for domain management. So this setup is very powerful and ensure secure, reliable, and scalable application deployment. So in the previous video, I have discussed about how we can install and configure Azure Managed Nginx Ingress add-on to the AKS. So I will put the description uh, in this video for you to check it out. So let's get started. Let's take a look at what is Nginx Ingress SSL termination. It is a process of handling and decrypting SSL or TLS encrypted traffic at the Nginx Ingress controller level before it's forwarding and the unencrypted traffic to the backend services or application. So that means when the customers are accessing your URL, application URL, you can configure the application to use SSL to communicate and exchange the data. So it is more secure and it is vital for any public facing application to have SSL certificate for establishing the secure connection. Now let's talk about how the architecture works. So in Kubernetes, you have your Azure Kubernetes cluster, then you have your workloads running on the cluster. Then if you want to expose any application into the public internet, then you can do it through the Ingress resource. So Ingress resource individually doesn't work, it doesn't do anything. So if you want to use Ingress to expose the application, then you should have Ingress controller. So in this scenario, we are using Nginx Ingress controller, which is managed service from Azure AKS. So we can use that with Azure Key Vault and Azure DNS for your streamline your application expose, right? But in this video, we are especially discussing about how we can secure our application through the SSL termination and using Azure Key Vault and Azure DNS for it. So if you talk about integrating Azure Key Vault for secure certificate, so you know that security is crucial in any application. So especially when you're dealing with HTTPS traffic. So Azure Key Vault help you securely manage and access your SSL certificate. And by integrating Azure Key Vault with your Nginx Ingress controller, you can automate the process of obtaining and renewing the certificates and ensuring that your application is um, always secure from the public internet. So this makes happen by integrating Key Vault with Kubernetes Service. So we can enable that option. Then there's another part that this managed Nginx Ingress controller works, that is Azure DNS. So next up is Azure DNS. So what Azure DNS do is we can manage our domain names through the Ingress controller in Ingress resource. So Azure DNS allows us to host our DNS domains in Azure, providing a reliable and fast name resolution by using Microsoft Global Network. The beauty of this managed service, Nginx managed service, is you don't have to go and manually enter the Azure DNS for your application domain. So Azure, this managed Nginx Ingress controller will go and automatically update the required DNS records in Azure DNS to make this automated for you. So next we will take a look at what are the key benefits that we can identify using Azure Nginx Managed Service and Azure DNS and Key Vault for certificate management. So basically, the first thing is easy configuration, right? That means with managed service, you don't have to worry about maintaining the infrastructure for the ingress controller and certificate management or DNS management. So everything will take care from the Azure will take care of that high availability and scalability for you. And the second one is integration with an external DNS such as Azure DNS. So with this option, you can streamline your domain registration for your application domain names. So you don't have to go and manually add those DNS records. And another key benefit is self-termination with the certificate stored in Key Vault. Because if you know about Kubernetes secrets are not that secure. It is not so we can secure we can put our certificates in Azure Key Vault as a secret management system. So Azure Key Vault has more options to secure your Key Vault, and you can use Ingress to uh, get the validated certificate from Key Vault. And another one is enhance security. So you can improve your security by using these SSL certificates. And global availability also the key benefit that we can identify, because most of these services are managed service such as Azure DNS, Azure Key Vault. So those are always high available for your application to work with. Next, we will see a demo how we can provision Key Vault and how we can integrate Azure Kubernetes services with Key Vault, then how to configure DNS configuration, and we'll deploy a sample application and see how these all of these components are working together. To start up with the demo, first we need a Kubernetes cluster which with an Azure App Routing enabled. So you can check out my previous video how we can create a Azure AKS cluster with App Routing enabled. So I assume for this video you already have a AKS cluster with App Routing enabled, which will install the manage Nginx Ingress control add-on to your cluster. So if you have a cluster with that, then you can continue with this SS examination. So for this demo, I will have this script created. So I will post a link to the GitHub repo. You can use the same commands for you to try out this feature. So first what I'll do is I already have a SSL certificate for my domain, so which is kasunrajapaksha.xyz. So if you don't have a domain, if you don't have a certificate or Azure DNS, you should create Azure DNS for that specific domain, and you have to have a SSL certificate for that domain as well. So assuming those things are available with you, I will continue this demo. So first what I'll do is I will add few environment variables for my terminal. So in this environment variable, you can find my resource group, cluster name, and the location, key vault name, and the certificate name, and my DNS zones, and DNS zone resource group, and subscription ID name. So next, you can log into the Azure, then you can select the relevant subscription, which is your cluster is uh, created. Then the next, I already have logged into my subscription. So next, what I'll do is I will create a Azure Key Vault, right? So in my resource group, okay, now you can see that the key vault is created. So let's go and verify the key vault is created. So if I go to my resource group, so you can see the key vault is created. Now the key vault is created. Next, what I'll do is I need to provide a RBAC role for the certificate management for my user who are configuring this uh, key vault. Otherwise, I cannot upload the certificate to Key Vault. So therefore, what I'll do is I will use the Key Vault certificate officer role and assign it to my user, and I will specify the scope, which is my Key Vault name. So I will copy this command, then I will paste it. Then we have to wait until the role is assigned. Now you can see the role is properly assigned. So if I go to my key vault and access controls, you can see Kasuna at infracloud.com has the role key vault certificate officer. Then what you need to do is you need to import your certificate in a PFX format. So if you don't have the certificate with PFX format, you can use OpenSSL command to convert it to the PFX format. So after you convert it to the PFX format, then you can import that certificate into the key vault as from this command. So I will import the certificate to the key vault. Okay, so it is saying that I can't find the certificate. Yeah, that's obvious because I need to go to my specific folder. Then I will rerun the command. Then the certificate is uploaded, right? So now you can see the certificate is uploaded into my key vault. So if I go to the key vault, then if I go to certificates, you can see my Ingress TLS certificate is uploaded. Okay. Next, what we need to do is we are going to enable the Key Vault integration with AKS cluster. For this, we need to uh, use the Key Vault ID. So then we can use this Key Vault ID with AKS app routing, and we can attach the Key Vault to the app routing add-on. So first I will grab the Key Vault ID using the EC command. Then if I echo the Key Vault ID, then you can see the resource ID for my key vault. Then what I'll do is I will use AKS app routing update. Then there's a additional parameter to enable the key vault. There's a parameter called enable-kv, and there's another parameter called attach-kv, and we have to give the key vault ID to that parameter that we uh, got from the previous command. So I will run this command. Then this will update my AKS cluster add-on, Nginx add-on with the key vault ID. So this will take few minutes. So we will see after it is configured. Okay, now you can see that the key vault integration is successfully completed. So now what we can do is, if you don't have a DNS zone for your specific domain name, then you can create a DNS zone with this name, this command, AC network DNS zone create. But I already have a DNS zone for mine, so I'm not going to create a DNS zone. So then if you already have a DNS zone with a specific DNS name, then we need to get the DNS zone ID. So by using AC network DNS zone show, then we need to pass the DNS zone name. So I already have a variable defined for that. Then I will query the ID and output as a TSV format. Okay, so yeah, so line 48, copy it, and then I will run it in my terminal again. So yeah, then we will echo and verify that the DNS zone ID is there. Now you can see that my zone ID for resource is there. Then there's another update we need to do for app routing, AKS app routing command. So there, what we'll do is we'll integrate our DNS zone into the app routing. So app routing can manage the update in the DNS records in our DNS zone. So here you have to use AKS app routing in zone in that command. Then you have to specify IDs. So that means you can put multiple DNS zones. So here I will put my DNS zone ID. Then you need to pass the parameter attach zones to attach it to the app routing add-on. So what I'll do is I will run this command. So this will take some time for the integration. We'll come back after it's complete. Okay, now the integration of DNS zone is completed. So now we can continue with deploying application, and we can test out how the manage Nginx Ingress add-on work with key vaults and DNS. But before that, we need to have few things ready. So when you're working with Nginx Ingress add-on with key vault, we need to have have the ID for our key vault certificate, right? Certificate ID, because uh, we need to specify that ID in our Ingress resource so that Nginx Ingress add-on can access the certificate and do the required validation for that specific domain in the Ingress resource. So therefore, what I'll do is I will use AC key vault certificate show command. Then I will specify my key vault and certificate name. Then I will query the ID of the certificate and will output as a TSV format. So this will give me the certificate ID. Yeah. Okay, what I'll do is I will copy this certificate ID, right? Then I will keep it here in separate uh, file because we will need this one for our ingress control, ingress resource. Then what I'll do is I'll log into the cluster, right? I will get the credentials, keep config file. Then what I'll do is I will create a separate namespace for my application. So this namespace called app routing SSL demo. So in the cluster, I will create a separate namespace. Now what we'll do is we'll go and see what we are going to deploy. So here I'm not going to do a very complex application. It's a very simple application which has a deployment and a service, uh, and it will give you a output very basic page, right? Nothing complicated, right? Then we have Ingress resource, the Ingress YAML. So here, this Ingress, I have told you previously we need to get the certificate URL. So you can see that in the annotation of the Ingress controller, we need to put this specific annotation, kubernetes.azure.com/TLS cert key vault URI, and you have to specify the URI for the your key vault, right? So what I'll do is I will copy the URI I got from, and I will paste it in here, right? Then here you have to give you the name of the ingress, then the namespace, then ingress class name. So I explained this section in the previous video. This is the ingress class name in the coming for our manage Nginx Ingress control. Then here under the hosts, I'm giving my DNS name, host name. So in this example, it's a sample app-ssl.kasunrajapaksha.xyz. That is my domain name, and simple app-ssl is my subdomain. Then I will specify which service I need to route this traffic and the path. Then under the TLS configuration, I'm giving my URL, which is going to verify. Then under the secret name, there's a very important thing you need to make sure that when you give a name for that secret name, make sure that start with key vault dash and your secret name. Right? So it is very important to make sure that you put the key vault in front of key vault dash. Otherwise, the key vault cannot identify this secret properly. Right? So there are two may two configurations you need to be careful of and notice. That is the annotation you need to put and the secret name you have to specify. That is two very important thing you need to specifically mention. Okay. Now I have this application and the ingress. So we'll go and deploy this and see how it's going to work. Right. Now I'm going back to my commands, right? Then what I'll do is I will first deploy the application, verify the application are running. Okay, now you can see my application still it's creating. It will take some time. Now it's here, it's running, the application is running. So you can access the application using port forwarding if you like. But what I'll do is I will deploy the Ingress resource as well. So I will deploy the Ingress resource now. Now you can see the Ingress resource is also created. Okay. Then there is few things you are going to notice, right? Because when you create Ingress resource, there will be additional pod is creating for to key vault. So this will make sure that your certificate will communicate with the pod and the termination will happen properly, right? So it's additional deployment happening from the Ingress controller managed add-on. So you don't have to worry about it much. Now let's get the Ingress resource. Now you can see the Ingress resource is there. So yeah, and the host name is also there. Now let's see whether our domain name is properly registered, right? So we can verify that by going to the Azure portal. Then if I go to my DNS zones, then if I go to my record sets, you can see sample. Yeah. So if I go to, if I search for the sample application, right? Let me check something. Yeah. So this is the one. So you can see there are two records added. One is sample-SSL, the record, and there will be a sample-SSL txt record also added to properly integrate with your application. So what I can do is I can go and use the subdomain with my domain name. So rajapaksha.xyz. Now you can see that I can access my sample application. So you can verify the connection here. So if you go to the certificate validation, so you can see that my certificate is validated because it is issued by DigiCert. So you can see the certificate chain as well. So if you go back to the terminal, yeah, now you can see that you can properly access your application and through the SSL termination, and you can see that I didn't do any DNS entry adding it the AKS Azure Ingress add-on automatically configure the DNS record for me, and it will take the certificate from the key vault as well. So that's all for the demo. So it's very easy and it is very convenient for us to provision the application and expose the application into the public internet with managed Nginx Ingress controller. So in conclusion, we can identify few things. That is that Azure Managed Nginx Ingress add-on will simplify the operations for us, and you don't have to worry about the online infrastructure availability and how those configurations are happening. And it will enhance the security for your application, so you can securely expose your application into the public internet by using Azure Key Vault and Azure DNS. Then seamless integration with Azure services such as Azure Key Vault and Azure DNS. So you don't have to worry about updating the DNS records in Azure DNS when you're using Azure Managed Nginx Ingress add-on. That's wrap up our demo on setting up Azure Managed Nginx Ingress and Key Vault with Azure DNS. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more Azure tutorials and tech insights. Feel free to drop any questions or suggestions for future videos in the comments below. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.